we're going to talk about point slope form. It's going to use some aspects of slope intercept form, but also provide us with new opportunities. So, point slope form. The name tells us exactly what we have. We have a point and a slope. So the point slope form of the equation of a line through x1, y1, that's just an ordered pair. For instance, 3, 2, or 5, 2, or -1, -2. And the slope of m is this formula here. So you'll see equations like y minus 2 is equal to 4 times x minus 3. Right? So here your slope, in this equation here, your slope is equal to 4. This number here in front of the parentheses will be your slope, and then it goes through the point 3, 2. So here's your x value, here's your y value, and it's normally y minus 2. So if it does end up being y plus 2, this would be a -2, right? So this form tells you a slope right away and 1.32. Let's work to find the form of this line, right? So we have here a point here and a point here. So we can find slope. We can do it by rise over run. The run is 1, 2, 3. The rise is 1, 2, 3, 4, -4. So the slope is equal to the rise, which is -4, over run, which is 3. And we have a point, and you can use either point. We'll actually do both of them a second. -1, 2. Right, so if we were to write one here, it'd be y minus the y value, which is 2, is equal to your slope, -4/3. And then x minus the x value, x minus a -1, or x plus 1. If we would use the point 2, -2, the equation is going to look different. Right? So y minus the y value, so y minus a -2, so y plus 2 is equal to your slope, and then x minus the x value. It looks different, but if you would solve it and put it in slope intercept form, you would have exactly the same line. You could also use other points that are on this line. There's no specific point you have to use. If you'd like to pause it and try to do this one yourself. Just to do things a little different, we're going to find slope a little differently this time. If you found it using rise over run, that's perfect. So we have 2 points, 4, 3. And down here we have a -1, -4. Right. I'm going to find slope another way now, just in case we didn't have a graph. So remember the y2 minus y1. So here will be our 2 point, here will be our first point. So -4 minus 3. And then for the x values, -1 minus 4. So -4 minus 3 is -7. -1 minus 4 is -5. Two negatives make a positive. So my slope is 7/5. I'm going to use this point right here. We could use the point down here, but 4, 3. So my slope is 7/5. So I'm going to use that. And I'm going to use the point 4, 3. So y minus the y value, 3, is equal to my slope, 7/5, x minus the x value, which is 4. Now just some practice writing some equations, given points and slopes, not having to find the slope. So it's going to be y minus the y value, y minus 4, is equal to the slope, which is 3, x minus a negative, or x plus 2. Again here, y minus the y value, 2, is equal to the slope, x minus the x value. I'd like you to try the next one a second. It's going to be y minus the y value, so y minus a negative 2, or y plus 2, is equal to the slope, negative 4, x minus 5. In these two examples, we had a given line that's parallel to the given line and passes through a point, right? So what we have is we have this point we got to go through, and it's got to be parallel to this line. What comes in there is if it's parallel, it has the same slope. So this is going to be my slope, my m value that I need to use, right? Y minus the y value, y minus a negative 4, is equal to the slope, negative 3, times x minus the x value, minus 3, right? So I don't do anything else with this one other than use the slope and just copy that slope down here. Now it has the same slope, so these two lines here are going to be parallel. I'd like you to try the next one. So again, we're going to use this point and the slope of negative 2. We don't care about the plus 1 or anything. So y minus the y value minus the negative 2. So y plus 2 is equal to negative 2 times x minus 3, the x value. Finally, if you have an equation, pulling the slope and point out, right? So here, my slope is the number out in front of the parentheses. So my slope is equal to 2/3. And if I want to get a point, I'm going to use, that's my y value, and there's my x value. But it's x plus 1, so really we can make it minus a negative, because it normally has to be minus. So the point is going to be negative 1, 3.